Good morning and welcome to Brick by Brick Real Estate Show. I'm your host, D Mayo. As previously spoken about, we will be talking about real estate, how to make it simple and easy for people to understand. I think that's one of the biggest issues we have in real estate is people don't understand the transaction, how to get started, and where we go. I have some questions that have come in from a panel of people asking some questions, and we're going to start off talking about real estate in general, but how do you get started with a real estate transaction? How do you reach out to a realtor? And you should always reach out to a realtor. I know there's a lot of controversy about that, but you need to have someone on your side that knows the market, knows the paperwork flow, and make sure you're protected. Here in Texas, we're very fortunate that TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission, really looks out for the consumer, and a good realtor that works well with you and understanding that and presents all the paperwork the way they should. You can understand how complicated a situation can be when purchasing real estate or renting or selling. And it's one of those things that as a realtor, I take pride in to making sure that my clients know the procedures. A lot of clients just say, "Hey, show me the paperwork. Where do I sign?" But I make them painstakingly go through some of the forms and all the forms, and we talk about it, and they get a good understanding of what it takes with a real estate transaction. So one of the questions here I'm looking at is, where do we start? I'm ready to go look at houses as a buyer, and looking at houses are great, but until you know exactly what you can afford, uh, where you stand with your credit, and where you're at with a lender, I think a first step is to reach out to a lender. I have a list of great lenders. Some work better with others, and that's where for you to decide when you're working with a lender, and get one that really teaches you again the whole process of what your credit, and the most important number, I think, with that is along with credit is what they call DTI, debt to income. Uh, how much do you owe, and how much do you owe to credit cards, car notes, things like that. There's a lot of variables into the lending, and but you need to reach out to a lender. Um, you know, like I said, reach out to a realtor and a lender. Together, they can get you started on the process. I think DTI is so important. I think there's a lot of debt out here right now. A lot of people have spent their equity when selling their homes and buying other homes overpriced, and a lot has happened over the last 2 to 3 years. And so people are getting back in the market. Interest rates dropped last week, I believe, and unemployment looks better. Inflation looks a little tamed based on the numbers we're seeing. But working with the lender is extremely, extremely important. And I think that everyone that works with me, we start off with a lender, and let's get in there and see how much you can afford. And making that statement and seeing how much you can afford, I think that is critical as well, because one of the things with a home, when you're buying a home, there's a lot more expenses to incur. Of course, down payment, insurance, taxes, all those things play a note into where you're at. But also, and my clients can tell you, they've heard me use this term many a times, that house poor. We don't want people to be house poor. And what I mean by that, grass needs to be cut 7, 8 years. That house needs to be painted. Doesn't count what you're going to have any repairs inside the house that you may have. So you got to anticipate those. And when you're looking at affordability, can we really afford the $400,000 house, or is it more like a 350 house? And with money going into the back door there to save for a rainy day. And there's a lot of financial gurus that talk about the term rainy day, and it does happen. It does happen, and you got to be prepared for it. Rainy day has been typically happening for all homeowners the last 2 to 3 years as home values have gone up. And that rainy day has happened when they get their new tax bill in. Recently, Tina and I, we just went through the same thing for the last 2 years, and it adds to your payment. It adds to how much you owe on taxes at the end of the year. A lot of people escrow their taxes, which is a great way to make sure you're planning correctly. But with tax increases, if you haven't in the state of Texas filed for your homestead exemption, be sure you do that, because that brings down the value of your house a little bit to help you pay a little bit less in taxes. But I think those kind of things are important. Those are the kind of things you talk with your lender. Make sure your lender is addressing all that. Speaking of lenders addressing some certain issues with you, one of the things we see many, many times is clients that want to buy new construction. They say, "Dee, we want a new house," and they're offering all kind of incentives at this new builder if we buy with them and use their lender. And that can be done, and that's a good way to take advantage of some incentives they have. But when they're figuring out your house note, they're looking at your income, your debt to your income. They're looking at all those different things as well. And but sometimes they don't always look at the value of your house when they're figuring their taxes. They're using the tax records of when that was vacant land. So a year from there, you end up having a rude awakening, because that particular lender got you into a house, but he was figuring taxes at the vacant land, not the improved land price. So the improved land price includes your house. So, be careful about those kind of things. Like I said, my clients know I preach that a lot when we talk about purchasing new construction, and we have, and we've taken advantage of some incentives they have. I've had lenders, though, that can beat or match the new construction lenders sometimes, because it all is about the math. And I kind of swim in my lane, and my lane is the real estate lane of making sure um, all the things are happening with lenders, with title companies, insurance, all that kind of things happening. But a lender is a great person and a resource for that kind of information to make sure you're getting a great deal and what's right for you as the client. So, once we go from the lender, that's once we get, not pre-approval. I tell people all the time, sometimes that's not worth the paper it's written on, but it is a synopsis of what you can afford. And we can get that in our hands, and we can set up arrangements to go view homes, go see new construction, existing homes, what is known as the resale homes. But we can start looking for you. But my first meeting with you is going to take place of let's get a game plan together. And you're going to hear me say that over and over on all these podcasts about a game plan. Yes, I come from a long line of sports stuff. You can see behind me here, I love sports. I played sports all my life, and it's about teamwork. But every team always had a game plan going into a game. And that's what we got to do. You got to be a student of this game. That's why I take a lot of classes about real estate and learning more techniques and new things that are coming out. But more importantly, we've got to have a game plan of what we're going to achieve. What are we looking for? And I can tell you here in Houston, we have har.com, and many of my clients look online directly as a consumer as well as a real estate site to look for homes. And many of my clients have a list of homes they want to go see. And we put them out there. All of them know I love looking at houses and land, and love getting in a car. My 2018 truck has close to 200,000 miles on it, because I love driving it. I love going out, looking at houses with clients, and we go see a lot. But more importantly, we can kind of narrow it down based on your lender, and based on what you can afford and what the game plan is. What are we looking for? Are we looking for great schools? Are we looking for great shopping? Are we looking for a starter home? Are we looking for a forever home? Are we looking for a pool? Things like that. So, there's a lot that goes into that first meeting of what we're trying to achieve and what are we looking at. Sure, we can go out and start looking, but I tell you what really happens is once we get a game plan together, it makes things a little bit quicker, faster, and a little bit smoother for my client. And I think that's the important piece to me, is making sure that things go smooth. And that's where I coordinate, again, all the different avenues that are coming in, making sure things are happening. Where are we at with the lending, the title companies doing their searches, and making it very, very smooth. And again, I got a couple of great title companies, people that work very hard to make sure that transaction runs smooth. And I think that's important to do. So, this little quip today is about getting set with your lender. And if you got questions about that, feel free to give me a call, 832-289-9362. You're going to hear that a lot again about me. I'm easy to reach. D Mayo, you can look me up at har.com as well. Has all my contact information. I'm with Cross Capital Realty right here in Tomball, but I serve the whole Houston area. And so, it's something that if you're really looking to buy a house, get with me and let's get this process started. There's some economic things that have happened pretty good for us here in the last couple of days. I know everybody's talking about the stock market last couple of days. Stock markets come and go. I always tell everybody buy on the dip, and we're definitely in the dip right now. But things are looking good with unemployment numbers, with the inflation numbers. Price of eggs went down. How about that? And there's a lot of good things happening. And if you're looking now's the time to start doing the planning, the process. I actually work with clients too that have a high DTI. How do we address that, D? I've taken many classes on that, and I can help people work on that plan as well. They may not be looking for a house the next 3 months. We're maybe talking 6 months, 9 months down the road. They want to get their DTI in order, and I can definitely help people with that as well. So hope this finds you well this week. Hope you have a great week. And if there's anything I can do for you, reach out to me again. It's D Mayo, 832-289-9362. Thanks for tuning in to Brick by Brick, the real estate show. And as we like to say around here, put Mayo on it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.